Hello, truth seekers. This is episode 108 of Life, Liberty, and Hines with me. They call me Brian Hines. Yep. What do I um, proclaim to be? Male, and I guess maybe a journalist. That's what we're doing here. Yep. But today is the 13th of March, 2025. There's either a lot of MAGA, M-A-G-A, MAGA happening out there, or they're tricking us pretty good. Because, a lot of people are recently saying that these are just executive orders that President Trump, is signing. And they are. So, are we allowed to go through this bubble of good time and then in 4 years get screwed all over again? I don't know. I still really didn't like the address to Congress, sometimes known as State of the Union, but being that's the first one after winning. He wasn't really an incumbent, Creepy Joe. So, whatever. They have two different names. That's a different topic. But anyway. So, we're going through this good time. Are the lawmakers going to make some of this Congress? Is Congress going to make some of this into law? Only time will tell. Right now, it's a bumpy road there in Congress. It looked like none of the cabinet was going to get confirmed. But some, most, all, I'm not up to par on it, but we got quite a few of them in there. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, a few others. And at first they said they weren't going to get in, but you know what? What didn't happen this time was every one of them didn't get accused of some kind of stupid sex crime or something. So at least the Democrats finally learned, stop using that as your go-to accusation. But I guess we have to ride this out, and in 2 years we're going to hope for another not stole election, and maybe we'll get some more rhinos out. But like I said, get it passed into law, it's questionable. But we are getting the cabinet confirmed. Stuff could start going our way. But most of these laws, they're just stupid. Like, why do you have to make it a law that biological male that self-identifies as a female is not allowed to go beat up women in sports? That has to be made into law. Come on. Common sense. There's absolutely none of that in it. What happened to it? I felt like I was going through school. I was like, man, I could swear everybody behind me is stupid. But there were a lot of stupid people in my class as well. But not as many as behind me. And now, they're not being taught, they're being indoctrinated. And that's what makes them stupid. They're not learning useful stuff. A lot of people have no idea how many states there are. That's pathetic. But we get last week. I don't watch too many of my shows, but for some reason I caught a glimpse of my show last week, and I was talking about black sheep, and then certain people were black sheep, and then I was also talking about rhinos, but I ended up calling Matt Gaetz a rhino, which I meant he was a black sheep. So just to straighten that out a little bit. But if you look back quite a few years, Matt Gaetz, he was making quite different decisions. So he was actually both. But right now, he's one of them rare good conservatives. You know what I mean? Or are they just playing a trick on us, like I said? Only time will tell. But anyway, back to the information here. Yes. Transgender people. Oh yeah, check this out. Um, little consensus I came to. You know, these transgender people that are having surgeries. Um, eventually, down the road, it's gonna like bulb's gonna turn on and stuff, and they're gonna be like, "Huh, well, this ain't good." And then, I mean, it's something you can't reverse. So, um, they're actually right in that, like in the moment, they think they're all happy and stuff, but eventually, when they're not, they're victims, and they're victims of the government. They're victims of teachers. They're victims of counselors, like guidance counselors and such. They're victims of doctors, people that convinced them to have these surgeries or take these drugs, and then the people that did it. And they're also victims because they're children. That's why teachers are one of those. These teachers that are promoting this stuff. Because even though they're happy at the moment when they're going through this, so they say. We don't know that anyway. But eventually it reverses. And then the other thing, like suicide rates, it's almost impossible to get suicide rates that are based on liberal agendas like abortion and transgender surgery. Yep, looking for that stuff. I mean, of course, Google ain't gonna give it to you at all. You gotta go to other sources. But getting it, getting suicide rates for liberal agendas, almost impossible. So these victims, you know, from the government, teachers, counselors, and doctors, you know, it's and then later, say, like I said there, suicide, because I'm gonna assume, and I'm pretty sure they are pretty high. Seen somewhere somebody did some pretty good work and research that a lot of people end up committing suicide because I mean they messed up their body. You can't change it, and all they do is create more victims. So you toss it down the road. Not only are the people that you convinced to be this way now, their own friends and family are also victims of their victimized friend, family. It's always there's always more victims than one person. It's crazy. They're getting stuff done about it. Executive orders right now. We need the Congress to start passing laws for this common sense stuff. What we're after. Time will tell. But I still didn't like the State of the Union. It's just easier to say. Um. Oh, look at that. This is the corrupt judge part of the show. I found corrupt judge Christopher R. Cooper, a Hussein Obama appointee, trying to shut down Doge. Well, I'm pretty sure that Judge Cooper is going to fail. Might throw some wrenches in their Doge works, but they'll work right through it and continue to find wasteful spending, as they are calling it. In all reality, it is theft of our money, wasting in crazy places. You know, they're paying um, terrorists. They're paying anyway. We got to get on to the next corrupt judge, which is Anna Reyes. This is a creepy Joe appointed. Uh, Judge Reyes demands Hegseth retract a transgender comment he made. So, Judge Reyes, Anna Reyes, she is trying to tell Hegseth that his First Amendment right. No, you ain't got that. That's pretty crazy. But there you go. The corrupt judge part of the show. Last week I might not have had that part, but I got a couple already set up for next week. Just found them right before the show here a little bit. It's good stuff. We're gonna move on down here a little bit. Oh yeah, because of judges like these, Trump was talking about eliminating the bar association. That's gonna be a pretty big deal. Like, I believe every state. I should have looked it up, but I know a little bit of law. I believe every state has its own bar association. Like here in Pennsylvania, there is a Pennsylvania Bar Association. So I'm going to say that the Pennsylvania Bar Association is not doing any kind of work in Missouri. I'm going to say they have their own. And then I'm going to also say that the federal government, Washington, D.C., the swamp, they have their own federal bar association. Maybe a couple. Maybe one for appellate courts, one for whatever kind of federal courts. I'm thinking there's multiple bar associations. Maybe there's just one. But anyway, if Trump gets rid of the federal bar association, then that'll promote states to get rid of theirs. It most likely will not mandate them to, but it will show which states want to go constitutional law and are actually conservative. This is a great moment in U.S. history. I mean, we're finding out a lot of bad stuff. I mean, we've been robbed and harmed by the government for well over 100 years. Yeah. And, like, the whole Fed the founding of the Fed and the Titanic story that goes with it. If that's true, that's just ridiculous. And that means that was 1912 or 13 or something. It's a pretty long time ago. It's over 100 years ago. That's bad. So, which I'm not going to say that's the beginning of the government trying to harm the people. No. But they try to keep us in debt, and then we owe them. As long as we owe, what you owe is money, and money is debt. So, if Trump can eliminate the Bar Association, that's going to be pretty good, because the outcome of eliminating the Bar Association is some judges, like these corrupt judges, they will be easier to, what we're going to say, fire. Yep. Because judges, they get voted in, but they don't get voted out. So, some crazy thing that they should have thought out a little better back in the day. But anyway, supposed to get constitutional constitutional judges, because that is the law of the land. But due to these corrupt judges, and many before, we have case law, another very corrupt part of the justice system. Just one little part, but it's a very big part. But ban the Bar Association, eliminate the Bar Association. That's going to be great. Move on. Yes. Alina Habba found a fake Oval Office that Creepy Joe used. I'm thinking it had to been near a beach, so maybe Alina Habba is on vacation, because she probably deserves one. She done a lot of work. But anyway, she found a fake Oval Office that Creepy Joe used. That's pretty funny stuff right there. All this stuff I had like reposted, most likely on Truth Social, but you can follow me on Truth Social or Getter. And I mean, I'm on Instagram too, but I'm not there very much. I'm a quick follow back, and that's it. A couple comments, and I'm out. But anyway, I'm not out right now. Alina Habba, good work. Hopefully she's on vacation at the beach. Anyway, we gotta move on. Oh, yeah. I just reposted this like a couple days ago, I believe. There seems to be a lot of evidence of and details about Queen Elizabeth and about 50,000 missing children. That's a lot of children. I remember she had a bunch of them little dogs, Welsh corgis, but I don't remember her having a bunch of kids running around. So I'm really not sure what that story is about. But it looked pretty important, so I figured I'd tell you about it. Over 165 school employees have been arrested in 2025 related to child sex charges. 165. That's in 2 months. That's say, let's cut that down to 150, and then you're gonna times that by 6, 300, 600, 900, and that was cutting it down. That's like about 1,000 school employees that actually got busted. That's not how many there are doing this stuff. No. That's the ones that got busted. That's crazy. We gotta move on. That's just crazy. 165 school employees arrested in 2025 alone. And it is only March. So, wow. And it's like 2 months. A little over 2. There might be more, but they just ain't telling about us. You know? We'll move on. That's crazy now. According to Conservative Brief, crews were going to tear down Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington, D.C. I looked for something after that because a Conservative Brief showed a story. I'm not questioning Conservative Brief. They're pretty good on the news. But I seen it. And then I went and looked for like somewhere else. Like Google. I use Google just to prove that they're hiding stuff. Yeah. And I couldn't find much. Anyway, check this out. It was a little tidbit there on about the vaccines. And check this out. The courts, which the courts are the judges, the ones in these case halls and stuff. Check this out. The court allowed Big Pharma to avoid prosecution for vaccine side effects, otherwise known as vaccine injury, by quote unquote unavoidable.
Can you hear me?
Yes, by unavoidably unsafe. And what happened there? For a judge to grant Big Pharma the right or the ability to have the excuse that, oh yeah, our vaccines, they're unavoidably unsafe. So you're admitting to them being unsafe to the court, the judge. And the judge is like, oh, okay. And then gives them immunity to any bad side effects from said vaccines. The court, they're bad judges. Yeah. It's okay for your vaccines to be unsafe that you're injecting into people. Sure. But that's what it is. No matter how much BS it sounds like. It's real. We move on to Space Force's secretive. They say it's secretive plane, but they're telling us the whole story about it. So I'm really not sure what's secretive about it. This isn't the first trip it's been up, and I mean, it's not very secretive. But the article I read and I reposted, they're calling it secretive. So whatever. But Space Force's secretive space plane, and its name is X-37B, came back in only 434 days. This space plane that was going for 434 days, of course it's unmanned. But check this out. I'm reading the article, and they called it uncrewed. Uncrewed. Back in the day, that would have easily been called unmanned. But being there's all kinds of debate about that kind of stuff these days, they just call it uncrewed spaceplane, the X-37B. But apparently, maybe it was supposed to be up there longer. They really didn't even tell that in the story because it did say it was already up there for 900 and over 900 days. I think it was 990 something, but it went up and it came back in only 434 days. But that's pretty cool. Space Force's secretive space plane. Wonder what it's doing out there. But it's pretty cool stuff. Things we might need to know. So I'm telling you. Democrat Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education, which created the teachers union. The teachers union. It's just like the Bar Association. These here organizations, these liberal organizations, which it all ties together. Liberal organizations save the jobs of worthless employees. It's just what they do. The lazier you are, the better chance of you not losing your job. And then they wonder why it costs so much to get anything done. Which, somehow, they screwed it up so bad. That's why we have no manufacturing. All to keep us in debt. I believe I said that at the very beginning of the show. The government, teachers, counselors, doctors, man. Is their work really worth that much? But whatever. Some people can do it, some people can't. But Jimmy Carter created the Department of Education, and now we might be getting rid of the Department of Education. And we move on to Elon Musk found a connection between Perkins Coie law firm. I remember Rush Limbaugh talking about Perkins Coie law firm quite a bit, having to do with it'll come to me. But anyway, Elon Musk found a connection between Perkins Coie law firm, who started fake Russia collusion hoax, the lie about Trump Russia collusion. Yeah, that thing. Perkins Coie was very much involved in that situation right there. And the connection is Perkins Coie and Ray Epps' new lawyer. That's what's going on, which is against Tucker Carlson for calling him probably for calling him an FBI informant, which I totally agree with Ray Epps being an FBI informant. He was there to start to create chaos, and he brought a bunch of them there, um, BLM and Antifa people. They were just dressed differently. That's what happened. Anyway, to the thing that Pelosi calls an insurrection. Tell you what, when we go off, there ain't gonna be no insurrection. Remember that thing a long time ago? The thing was called a revolution. Yeah. But like I said, only time will tell. But we got to get back to this. Elon Musk, Perkins Coie, and Ray Epps got a lawsuit up against Tucker Carlson. And on that note, first show for the new notebook. Check that out. Hope you enjoyed it. And I got to go.
Boy, he did go too, didn't he?